Building a SaaS or app may be easier today, but building a profitable one is harder than ever. You're not just building a product, you're selling it. And for that, you need 4 key things: idea validation, product management, marketing, monetization strategies. Let's talk about what that means in the context of a software business, because so many get 3 out of these 4 things wrong. Don't let that be you. Hey guys, it's scientifically proven that 99% of all successful founders are subscribed to Adrian Ching. So why don't you go ahead and make that 100%? My hope is that this video changes how you evaluate the next app idea that pops into your head. Not just whether it's a good idea, but whether it's profitable. Not as someone building an app, but as a founder building a business, whether tech or non-tech. Like I said, the 4 things needed are idea validation, product management, marketing, monetization strategy. After explaining what each looks like, I'll rank them in order of importance. Because by then, it should be clear to you that you need more than a good product to have a profitable business. In fact, you don't even need a good product. Look at Microsoft. Idea validation. I think of idea validation as a line. On one end, you have the audience, your total addressable market. And the other hand, you have the problem, what you are solving. Your app is the solution that links the two. And you can start from either end. You can start by looking at a total addressable market and find out what problems they have. Or you can start by looking at a problem and determining its total addressable market. To follow the money, 2 things. You want the biggest and richest possible total addressable market. And you want the most frequent and serious problem they face. So basically, you want to try building a tax evasion app for rich people. And let's say you don't because you are a good person, at least try finding something so frequent and serious that a solution makes people sound like tennis players. In practice, you'll be making some compromises along the way, but get as close to as you can. I've got a whole video on how you can get this idea here. I go step by step on how to find app ideas and test them. In summary, you should look for problems from 3 sources: work experience, life experience, and second-hand research. Say you have 10 problems that translate into 10 app ideas. The current meta is to make a landing page to test whether or not there will be demand. Clearly say what the solution is and get people to sign up for a waiting list. If you can get 3 out of every 100 landing page visitors to sign up, you're onto something. But what if you have multiple landing pages that get a 3% conversion rate? Or your best one gets 2.8 conversion? How do you decide whether or not to go ahead and build out the app? That's where we look at monetization. At the end of the day, you want to know 2 things about your monetization strategies. That it has the potential to generate the kind of revenue you need, your price points are competitive enough to keep paying users. There are many ways you can monetize an app or software product: in-app advertising, in-app purchases, renewable subscriptions, white labeling, crowdfunding, corporate or public sponsorship, data monetization. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. 3 big questions that affect which ones you should actually go for. Will people pay for using your solution? Will businesses pay for the people using your solution? Both? If you plan to generate revenue directly from users, your monetization strategies are subscriptions and in-app purchases. It comes with an unlimited free tier, or at the very least, a free trial. So users can try out your solution before deciding to commit. On average, 2 to 5% of users will make the jump to a paid plan. If you plan to generate revenue from selling your traffic to other businesses, you're looking at data monetization or advertising. With ads, you'll need to read up on cost per mil, which is how much you get paid for every 1,000 impressions. And there's so many factors that will affect your cost per mil, including type of ads, type of app, where your users are located, where the ad is placed, even Android versus iOS. And there's no point in memorizing anything. You can't just assume Android pays better than iOS. In some country, yes. In some country, it's the opposite. It gets convoluted fast, and you need hundreds of thousands of active users per day to make it worthwhile. It's doable. The right micro SaaS can get to those levels, but I would personally recommend a subscription model whenever possible, or both. Back to monetization as a pillar. You decide how much you want to make from this venture. With subscriptions, you then set a price that can achieve that and test the market with a pricing section somewhere on your landing page. If you want to use advertising, your monetization strategy is going to be linked closely with your marketing strategy. Speaking of which, let's get to the third pillar. But first, a sales pitch. My team and I at Upside Studio help non-technical entrepreneurs grow past $5 to $10 million in annual revenue with custom software. We've worked with over 30 leading brands across industries. These businesses were stuck where no ready-made solution on the market solved their problem. To continue growing, they had to make their own solution. If your business is also currently stuck at this 5 to 10 million level and you want to explore custom solutions, let me help. There's a link in description to sign up for a free, no strings attached strategy session. We'll dissect your current constraint together and you get an honest opinion about whether custom software is your answer. And if yes, we decide if we can work together. If it's not, you just save yourself from a very big investment with no ROI. Apply through the link and we'll be in touch. I'm only taking 3 of these calls per month and it's first come, first serve. So if you want to work with me, apply now. Back to the video. Marketing. This is the part where you do everything within your power and budget to make your total addressable market aware of your solutions to their problem and understand its USP clearly. I'm no marketer. I hire marketers to help me. And because I'm not a marketer, I can't sit here and tell you how to market your app. Instead, that's why I'm going to sit here and tell you what someone else said about how to market an app. That someone else is Ali Abuelata, a Duolingo product manager who runs the first 1000 newsletter/blog. Ali does deep dives into how different apps and SaaS got to their first 1000 customers, and the man covers everything. He's done case studies on big names like OnlyFans and Netflix, and smaller names that you and I have never heard of. I highly recommend his blog, which I will link in the description, and I would recommend starting with his list of 53 things you can do to market your app and get to your first 1000 customers. You won't actually need 53 different marketing strategies. So the idea is to go through the list and pick the one that have the best synergy with your product. I'm just going to list out the 8 that make me go, that sounds pretty good. Create an easier tool to sell. Build irrelevant cool stuff to pull massive traffic. Train Twitter bots. Launch a free course. Post on Reddit and Quora. Get mentioned by a blog and newsletter. Organize a hackathon. Build a personal brand as the founder and get mentioned by a blog and newsletter. See what he did with that last one there? A good way to decide which specific platforms and strategies to prioritize is to ask yourself where your target audience is wandering around. That's where you market. And finally, we have product development. This is the part where you build an app or SaaS. And the real challenge is not so much the building, aka the technical parts. The challenge is about building it right. It actually solves the problem you wanted to solve. If you're a non-tech founder, you've got 2 choices. You can hire a developer or you can build it yourself with a no-code app builder. In either case, the process of putting together this solution looks the same, and it looks like this. Requirements gathering, UI UX design, backend and frontend development, QA and testing, launch, and finally, iterate and maintain. The first launch is usually for an MVP, a minimum viable product. You should release it in 12 weeks. It's not meant to be perfect, it's meant to be tested by users who then give feedback. For that reason, the first app just gets the job done well enough that users will say, great product, but you know what would make it perfect? Instead of, this is dark. You then take that feedback and decide whether or not to act on it and iterate your app. Curious things will happen. The feature you predicted would be your bestseller can go bust, and some underdog feature instead gets super popular. Ranking the 4 essentials. Obligatory disclaimer. I'm not saying any of these 4 are not important. I just don't think they are equally essential. As in, you can probably get away with making some money, but if you want to grow your business, then you need all 4. I also reserve the right to change my mind in the future. So starting with the most important, we have Number 1, idea validation. It makes sure there's a demand for your product in the market before committing to something that will take up a lot of time and money. Without an idea, you have nothing. So it has to be the number 1. Number 2, marketing. I wasn't kidding when I used Microsoft. Effective marketing is essential for reaching your audience and bringing in sales. You can effectively sell just the idea of a SaaS with a landing page. But without a landing page, you can't even sell an actual working SaaS. That tells me it's the second most important element. And in the third place, we have product management. Of course, a well-managed product is crucial for long-term success and customer satisfaction. That's how you keep deadlines met and slowly iterate your solution to perfection. It turns your million-dollar idea into an actual million-dollar product. And lastly, we have monetization strategy. Monetization strategy is literally how and how much you make, so its importance is obvious. However, a good app with a bad price can be saved. A bad app? People won't even use it for free. To me, this means monetization is the least essential. It's important, don't get me wrong, but it's the cherry on top. The million-dollar idea is the cake. So if you don't yet have your million-dollar idea, check out my video on how to find them. Everyone knows it's all about solving problems, and the world has enough of them. But which problems are worth solving? And out of them, which one should you solve? This Adrian doesn't know, but that Adrian does. Please leave a like and subscribe for more content on app and SaaS development. Thanks for watching, and let's find you your million-dollar cake.